Hello. How are you doing? I hope everything's fine with you, and I hope that you had a good weekend and ready for the new week in the market. As you know, I always like to start with the economic calendar, and I will show you how everything I did mention in the last Forex weekly market analysis is playing perfectly, literally to the T. Before jumping to the chart, let's start with the economic calendar. So if we look at this week, which will start Monday 23rd, we have actually a lot of news on Euro, news on GBP, and the news on the US dollar. And here I'm talking about the high impact news. Okay. And then on Tuesday, we have some news on Canadian dollar, GBP, and then US dollar. And the one on Tuesday is quite important. On Wednesday, we have some news on Australian dollar and then US dollar again, and also quite important. Thursday, we have some news on GBP and then USD, also quite important. And then on Friday, we have some news on Canadian dollar and on US dollar. So if you see, just like looking at the economic calendar, you see that this week, which actually going to start, we have a lot of news on US dollar and GBP. Then you know that most of movements, I would say the peak of movements we can expect will happen on the GBP USD pair. Okay? And I will show you that on the chart. Now let's start with the DXY or the US dollar index. Let me start with this chart first. And here we are on weekly time frame. So for whom of you just watching me for the first time, so these areas which are in red or yellow, these are my prospect zones, which I did talk about a lot with my students, and they know how to find it on the chart. But in general, the red ones are for monthly time frame, yellow ones are for weekly time frame, and green ones are for the daily time frame. And as we know, the higher time frame, the stronger it is. Anyway, what I want to say here, that when the price broke below here, came to retest this zone nicely. And then as you can see, this yellow zone here, which also in cross with the red zone, so that shows that this area, it depends where the price is actually a strong resistance and support. If the price is above, so it's support. If the price is below, so it is resistance. As you can see how strong it is. Support. And here I talk about weekly time frame. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 weeks of support on this level. And then the price broke below last week. Okay. I'm talking about like the week which started on 9th of June. And then the last week, the price came to retest it nicely and showing a good and nice rejection, as this area is resistance right now. Okay. Now, if we go to daily time frame, you can also see the green zone here came into play. So, which is daily, and you can see that when the price broke below, came to retest nicely, showing a nice price action, which actually opens the floor to a more, push to the downside on the US dollar. Okay, so this is one thing basically keep in mind. Now let's move to this chart. If you watched my last week video, so you will see that I had this chart exactly that way, and I put basically this risk reward like for the position. And I said again, on weekly time frame, we have support. Price broke below, and I did say that for actually last week, I would expect the price to come to retest this area, and from here we will see a push to the downside. And this is what exactly happened. You see, guys, trading, you don't have to complicate it. As you can see on my charts, I don't have like 100 indicators or all this kind of stuff. I'm just using a very simple method, which I came to after like 13 years of experience in the market. I have been trading since 2012, and believe me, at the beginning I was using a lot of indicators. I don't know, MAC, the RSI, like moving average and all this kind of stuff. But believe me, I came to the point where basically I could tell none of them works. Simplicity is the key. Having a clear chart will help you to make the right decision. And here I talk only about, at this example, resistance and support. Okay, price broke below, came to retest here, this white line which is support. Now it came to retest as resistance. Simple, easy. Going to daily time frame, what do we see here? We see that we are in a downtrend. Lower high, lower low, 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 lower high, lower low. That's why I did mention that here we having the last lower high on daily time frame. As far as the price is below this area here, we are still in a downtrend. And as you can see, we had first touch of the trend line, second touch of the trend line, third touch, and right now price is coming to basically making the fourth touch on the trend line. But again, I would expect actually price next week, maybe we will have some little push to the upside, maybe just to liquidate, and then from here to move to the downside. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two, that maybe just we will see since beginning of the week just push to the downside. Keeping in mind that, I would say let's move to gold. And gold, let's start from this chart. And on weekly time frame, if you watched my video last week, what did I say? Ranges are one of the most powerful and precious tools you can have in trading. Very simple and very easy. And what did I say? We had this range for almost 8 weeks. Like price was just like moving inside this range. You see, couldn't break above or below. And then the last week, price broke above. And then what did I say? I would expect the price to come to retest it as support before moving to the upside, if any. But just knowing this fact, you know where the price might come to and what you should expect. This is a very, very, very powerful tool. And I complete lesson, which almost 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken, about ranges and how you can use them. Because believe me, it is amazing tool which is dismissed and ignored by a lot of people just for, I don't know, using MACD or whatsoever. But anyway, price broke above, came to retest as a support and showing a nice rejection, moving to the daily time frame. And this is very important, guys. And what I want you to keep in mind is number one here and number two here. Why? Because as I said, on long term, we are in an uptrend in gold. Medium term, we are actually starting from here. We are in a downtrend. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Can we call this lower high? No, because the price didn't make a lower low after that. So that's why this is the last lower high we have here. Okay, and this is very important. If the price broke above, then technically we can say that we invalidated this downtrend and we are an uptrend. That was for medium term. For short term, we started to create higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And then the price is making higher low. That's why I highlighted this last higher lower high, and I also highlighted this last higher low. And yes, we can call this higher low because the price made a higher high to this one. So this is a very important. Let's remove this one just to make it very clear. And what do we see right now? Actually, price managed to break this lower high. So technically we are invalidated this one and we are in an uptrend. This thing you need to keep in mind. This is very, very important, especially if we just make it to the body of the candle. So we indeed broke above this last lower high. So right now the smarter trade is definitely to buy. Okay, this is a very, very, very important thing. We can actually remove this one right now. We don't need it. And we can just look at the opportunities to buy. So we need to adjust the trend line. This is a very important thing to keep in mind right now. Basically, I would say we can adjust it to here or basically do just like that way. Okay. What I would expect that we might see at the start of the next week, maybe some little push to the downside just to take out this low here. So the price to come to take it out and then moving to the upside. That I might expect, especially keeping in mind the current situation, I would say, with all what we see happening. So I would expect that. And moving to 4 hours time frame, I would say yes. To be honest, I would really favor this scenario. The price, especially guys, you need to keep in mind one thing. From market psychology point of view, when basically you see such point coming here from the trend line, you see a lot of traders right now, just let's say we just put this trend line. I would say, oh, we have here trend line, nice, you know, very nice trend line. We have here first touch of the trend line. Okay, and here we have second, third, and a couple of touches for the trend line. And then what do we see? We see a nice strong push to the upside. Nice strong push to the upside. What is the first thing comes to your mind right now? You would say, okay, according to all books which I read right now, actually we have this touch here, second, third, and also we have this nice strong bullish engulfing, so price tend to continue to push to the upside. And a lot of people will basically come from here, put their stop loss below this, lows here, and they will say price to move to the upside. That might happen. But because of my 13 years of experience in the market, I would tell you that might happen, but the probability is quite low. What usually price tend to do is come to collect all stop losses below these points here, and then from here, price will push to the upside. And imagine what happens in this, trap, that when the price broke below here, okay, so all people who were buying, they hit their stop loss. And then when they see that, they will say, okay, price right now broke below the trend line. So right now it's time for us to sell. So they will be selling from here, putting their stop loss above this high. And then they will say, okay, now we're going to sell. What will happen after basically the price collecting all stop losses, price will continue the move to the upside. That happens in the market a lot of times. Believe me, this is how important the market psychology to understand how the market function. Okay, so that's why I would expect just a minute. I would expect that maybe starting at the next week, that's why I always say it's very, 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 very important, guys. Very important is to just highlight, let me just put it that way, to highlight this low, which is the low of weekly dotted line. I would say I would expect the price to come to take this low out and push to the upside. That's number one. Number two, at least, maybe we have this zone here. The price basically might come to, retest. Let me put it that way. So scenario number one, I would say price might come here and then from here push to the upside. That scenario which I wouldn't like that much. Scenario number two, which I would love, price to come here, push to the upside, and then from here I will be looking for opportunity to buy. That scenario which I will be actually, more into, I would say. So this is about basically, gold. I'm really into this scenario, to be honest, for next week. I really would love to see it happen. So this is about gold. And yeah, now let's move to EURUSD. EURUSD. Again, guys, let me start maybe with this one here. So these are my psychological levels, and these levels are very important, okay? They are very strong levels when it comes to resistance and support. And, you know, when the price broke above any of these levels or below, come to retest it. And you can see just, you know, for example, the monthly support, you see, support, price broke above, resistance, resistance broke below, support, 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 price broke above, etc., etc. And these levels, there are monthly levels, weekly levels, daily levels, and 4 hours level. For sure, the higher the time frame, the stronger it is. Anyway, on weekly time frame, what do we see here? That level was resistance, resistance, price broke above, came to retest and shows a nice rejection here and shows that it's a nice support. Again, on daily time frame, what do we see? Resistance, price broke above, support, price broke below, resistance, resistance, and on Friday the price broke above. So that means that we might expect on Monday price to come to retest it as a support before moving to the upside, if any. Always remember that, if any. On weekly time frame, what do we see here? Let me just put it that way. So what do we see here, guys? What do we see here? We see this level on weekly time frame, resistance, 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 resistance for almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for 6 weeks resistance, and then price broke above. So I would expect price maybe to come to retest this level as support before moving to the upside, if any. This is very important. On daily time frame, I had this chart from last week, and we were somewhere actually, yeah, here. We were here. That was Friday. And I did say that I would expect price to break below this level, and I highlighted again, you know, the high and the low on 4 hours time frame, very similar to what I did on gold, okay? And I did say that I would expect the price, as you can see this yellow arrow, to come below to this area and from here to push to the upside. Actually, indeed, price came to that area, but to the very top of this area, I wanted to see a deeper push to the downside. And I'm still waiting for this push to the downside. I'm really waiting for this one. I don't want to buy from that area right now, the way it is. I would like the price to come to take basically, to take out this low. And then after the price to take out this low, I will be looking for opportunity to buy. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And as we can see on daily time frame, what happened, guys? Price broke below this level, came to retest on Wednesday and then on Friday. So therefore, I would love to see another push to the downside, and from here I will be looking for opportunity to buy. And actually, that align with this one. So if we look at this level here on daily time frame, it's basically that level here, which we have on weekly time frame. So yeah, maybe price to come down here, and then I will be more into buying. And also, you need to keep in mind that when you see such points like this, perfect double top, you have to know that there is a lot of liquidity and stop losses above here. So eventually price should come to collect these all stop losses before moving to the downside, if any. But you need to keep in mind that actually we are in an uptrend. So that's why the smarter trade is definitely to move with the trend to the upside. And this is what exactly I'm looking for. But again, I would be more into price to come to take out this low. And then from here, I will be more into buying. If this didn't happen, to be honest, I wouldn't say I'm into any trade right now. I want to see the price to basically take, I would say, off. Okay, we can see price basically, yeah, On 4 hours time frame, what do we see? We had this downtrend. Oops, sorry. On 4 hours time frame, we have this downtrend. So what do you see? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Price actually broke above this, area. So on 4 hours time frame, we are actually in an uptrend. But yeah, on daily time frame, I would really love to see, again, I would love to see really I would love to see price basically to move to the downside to take out this low again here. Yeah, this one. This, I would put it as a weekly dotted line. Yes, I would love to see price to basically, come to take out this one before buying. Last is GBPUSD. Let's move to this one quickly and let's start with this chart. Again, on weekly time frame, what do you see, guys? Price broke above this level. Here, it was just playing around. This is a very nice psychological levels. As you can see, it's 1.35, so it's a very, very, very important level. Price broke below. And on daily time frame, what do you see, guys? Price broke above, came to retest, broke below, resistance, resistance, broke above, support, 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 support. Price broke below, came to retest as a resistance. So I would say, to be honest, price need to come to that level here. You see 1.33750, because you can see resistance, resistance, resistance. Price broke above, didn't come to retest as support. So I know that most probably price will come to retest this level. This is one thing I am kind of sure about. Here on daily time frame, this is a 12% trade, which I did talk about last week. I did say that I expect the price to come to this level here, especially we see resistance, 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 resistance. Here I talk about the weekly time frame. Price broke above, didn't come to retest it as a support, so I would expect the price to come here to retest it. And on daily time frame, what do we see? Price actually, last week we were actually Monday here. Tuesday, price broke below, came to that level, which is again in gray. You can see resistance, resistance, resistance. Price broke above, came to retest as support. Now it's support again. Ideal scenario for me, when the price come from here to that level up, and then from here I will be selling all the way down to here, and from here I will be looking for opportunity to buy. And as you can see here on GBPUSD, if this scenario will happen, we can look for opportunity basically. Why not? Maybe we can see some formation here, left shoulder, head. This is inverse head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, maybe right shoulder, and from here to buy, and from here to sell. And this opportunity, if it will happen, so we talk about almost 12% opportunity, which we can capitalize on. So that's all, guys, for this week. I hope you find it useful. If you want more analysis for more pairs like US oil, GBP, GBY, etc., let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much.